cost. So you're right, raise the rates. Because people are going there for parties, because it's cheaper. I used to work there. People couldn't care less about the deposits. They're drunk, they want to go home and have a good time. So $50, $100 didn't matter. Some of the things that I've seen going in here after the fact, yeah, you're taking time from the gentlemen that should be outside working, doing the grounds. They're inside working, cleaning up. So there's 2 hours, 3 hours that they're not doing outside work. And then you have friends of Crawford coming and complaining that their outside work is not getting done. You can't have both ways.
Right.
You took out of your budget one maintenance person. Well, how are you going to keep up with the work when you take out one person and you keep having all these events? There's 2, 3 parties backed up. Granted, you're making a lot of money. But is it worth what's happening to the building and the grounds? It was left for recreation. The money you spend fixing that building could be put into the grounds. And the man-hours putting into the grounds. Mr. Gelfeld had a very good idea. Whatever you bring in, just earmark it right back to that facility, and in X amount of years, you will have one of the jewels of the county. That park is a very nice park. That's why there's so much demand on it. You're in the right direction as far as making policies and things like that. Your 5-year capital plans are being addressed. Some have been in the past, some have. They always get lost somehow, in some way, it seems like. I started there in 1975. And not too much has changed on the fields. That baseball field was just thrown in there because Portchester at the time had 75, 80 teams of men's softball. And there were not enough fields in town to do that baseball. So the Carlo family was hired by Chappie Pasillipo to put the field in. That was an old, just a field, hay fields. Most of the whole park was all hay. It was over my head when I used to cut the grass. We used to cut it twice a month, or twice a year, possibly. It's come a long way, but it does need work. That house, I think you should have somebody from either Portchester and the village of Rye Brook, or an outside person check it all out, because God forbid there's a fire in there, town of Rye is going to be liable. To me, it's a fire trap right now, the way it stands. And it's not from you guys, it's been passed. You inherited things, it's been rolled over. Everybody's saying they want to do things, you're on your way to doing things. But you're here 3 years so far, you've cut back on monies and things like that, and you can see the little differences here and there. You've cut back on staff. When you cut back, things do get affected. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your comments, Mr. Rigo. Thank you. Other comments from the public? Please.
Good evening, lady and gentlemen. I'm Denise Colangelo. I'm the Executive Director of the Portchester Council for the Arts / Arts in Rye Town. And I would like to first of all thank you all for your prior goodwill that you've extended to our organization in allowing us to use the Crawford Park Mansion for a number of different programs that we run. I think that we have some very specific different questions that I think I've emailed to all of you through Bishop with regard to defining what a lot of these terms in this agreement mean. And as you said before, Supervisor Carvin, a number of groups in the community hold rehearsals that don't fit into either the event area or the meeting category. And I just would like to ask you if you could take a little time when you're developing this policy to define a little bit more clearly for those of us that are using it for a rehearsal purpose, what you exactly, there might be a different category, is all I'm saying, than event or meeting. We don't fit into a 5-hour period, and we don't fit into necessarily an hourly period. So also, I don't think the intent of this policy is to extinguish use by public groups of the facility, and I would, implore you folks to examine the fact that those of us that are not-for-profits and take that quite literally really could use a little bit of a break. We don't expect anything for free, and we do appreciate that that facility gets a tremendous amount of use and wear and tear, and that we all contribute to it in one way or another. But it is a potential upshot of this whole policy that there will be groups that will not be able to afford to be there. And I don't think that that's any of your intent. And so I would just ask you to have mercy on those of us that are not-for-profits, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, and I can confirm that you're absolutely right. It's not the intent to prevent not-for-profit groups from using the facility. In fact, if anything, we're looking to encourage it, and that's exactly what I want to hear from the public this evening. Thank you.
Mr. Carvin, just on the Supervisor Carvin, just on the same thought, there has never been a truly defined policy for the use of Crawford Park, and everything was always done with a okay, no problem. But there was nothing that you can leave. Okay, the boards here change, management changes. Crawford Park Mansion is going to maintain that, their position there, and the facility and the grounds and the fields, and this has to be a standard that's set. And far too often, what happens is that without that standard, that's when things become vague, and you can take advantage of a situation. And we are looking to enhance the park. We're looking to make sure that everybody, has fair representation. And one of the reasons why we're having the public hearing is to make sure we get this input from the stakeholders, to make sure that everyone is heard. So I agree with the supervisor and with Mrs. Colangelo, is that we're looking to do this for the best interests of the community and the people that use it, but more so just to set a standard. That's what's important. Sorry.
Thank you. And actually, just for those of you who didn't brave the cold or couldn't brave the cold tonight, we're not going to make any decisions tonight. We'll keep the public open hearing to our next meeting, which will be the third Tuesday in January. And in the meantime, please don't hesitate to send us your comments and thoughts. So one of the things that we have done is had a community conversation at Crawford Park and two community conversations at Ragtown Park. And there's no doubt in my mind that our ability to service the park is dramatically enhanced by your input. Mr. Rigo's comments were very, very helpful. I didn't know that, for example, that the doors opened in and that was a fire hazard. So, the whole idea is to use the thinking of the crowd, the thinking of the community to improve it and make sure that, as Deputy Supervisor Villanova said, that we're really provided for the stakeholders. So, other questions, comments? Please. Yes, please.
My name is John Hinch. I've been a resident of Portchester for 65 years, and I'm sort of here to support part of what Denise is saying. I've been part of a singing group, the Village Singers, and we've rehearsed there on Tuesday nights, I think, for 20 years, and we have 2 concerts a year. I understand the need to maintain the facility, and the village, or the town, has been kind enough to let us use it. And I would just hope that as you establish the rules and the guidelines, there would be some consideration for groups like Council for the Arts and the Village Singers, because if we had to pay the full amount to rehearse, we'd basically have to break up. And I think it's important for the village to support the arts in some ways. So.
Where do you hold your concerts?
At Crawford Mansion.
What do you do? Okay.
Yeah, so maybe we would pay the amount for the 2 concerts we have there. But,
and it's open to the public? And
it's open to the public, yes.
Wonderful. Great.
And I remember playing baseball.
I know I'm learning a lot.
By the way, I remember playing baseball in the field behind They used to have a Little League there. In 1955, I played there, so they must have let the field grow over between 55 and time again.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Thank you. When's your next concert? Do we know?
No, we just had one last night.
Oh, we missed it. Okay. So we missed your Christmas concert, holiday concert. Other comments, please, Mr. Abel?
This isn't a new issue. I mean, this has been discussed at this board more than once. And I know at a previous meeting when this came up, I thought one of the ways to come up with a value or a price is to figure out what the hourly cost of maintaining Crawford Park is. And I mean, from what I could tell, if you were going to charge the nonprofits, the fairest thing to do would be to charge them what the actual cost of just maintaining the property is by the hour. I mean, there's a lot of different numbers you can throw in and so on and so forth, but you could pick maybe a very low or conservative one. The way this proposal reads, it sounds like it's $75 an hour for 5 hours for the mansion, would be the nonprofit cost per hour. I don't know if that's a lot or a little as to what it costs to maintain the mansion, but I don't know if that number was ever worked on or has ever come up. And I know I had brought it up the last time this topic came up. Also, another...
but yes.
Okay, but is there a number?
Yeah, there is. As a matter of fact, if you ask Bishop, he'll be able to show it to you. It's actually a rather comprehensive report,
Okay.
and it does show.
But does it come to a...
Yes.
It does come
I mean,
to
is there a dollar amount?
We have an operating cost for the mansion, we have an operating cost for the fields, we have an operating cost for the pavilions. And again, we've kind of spread that out, so we have that by the hour.
Can we get that on our website?
Absolutely.
I mean, but my question is let's just take the mansion, because I think that's most of the concerns that are here, or some of the concerns anyway. What is the hourly cost of the mansion, the way you figure it out?
It depends again on how many hours you want to consider a day is, but it ranges anywhere from about $75 down to about, I think, $50 or so.
Okay. So, in other words,
A day?
I mean, it's always how,
Somewhere in that neighborhood, if I...
we all know how,
I'll get this.
you could work the numbers either way.
No.
I just believe that if there is a certain number that you come up to, that's what it costs to
It's a
run it,
wonderful
then
suggestion,
that's what the nonprofits should pay.
Yep.
Because it's a cost, it's the tax, that's what it would cost the taxpayers to maintain it. The other thing is your proposal for the nonprofits, it could be any nonprofit, and I'm wondering, I know that Rytown Park has different fees for residents and non-residents, and I was just wondering if there should be a different fee for a Rytown nonprofit versus a non-Rytown profit, because it's our park, and it was for the use of Rytown people and Rytown residents.
I think that's just for Rytown, correct?
Yeah.
It's just for Rytown residents.
We
There is
do
no-
have a residency policy which we enforce for general renters. Okay, we try not to rent to out-of-towners. And we do not offer any discounts or any free rentals, et cetera, to nonprofit groups that are located outside the town borders.
But
So
is that in this policy? Because I just skimmed it. I don't see it in there. That maybe I'm missing
So
it.
it's just two different things.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
yes, it is. And if you look on page 3.
Well, maybe...
No, it's okay.
Free use of nonprofit organizations, school districts, and municipal events, recreation programs based within the town of Rye borders requires proof of insurance and 501c3 authorization.
But that's
we
non.
can make it more clear.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about-
We're in
That's
heated-
the intent.
Okay, I mean,
Neither
I think if it's $50 an hour, we'll just use the mansion, to rent the mansion, that's what it costs to maintain the mansion, then that's what it should be for local non-profits. Okay, $50 an hour, whatever the appropriate number is. Of course, you can figure it a lot of different ways. Obviously, all nonprofits don't have a lot of money, and so on and so forth. Maybe the 5-hour minimum should be a question, as to whether it should be 5. Maybe the nonprofits only need it for 2, and it might be, for what they're doing. It depends on the event, obviously. So the other thing is you have meetings for civic groups, and at $30 an hour, I think. Am I correct, Bishop? Okay, so I don't have-
Yes.
Yeah. I just wonder, if Rotary wants to meet there, or Kiwanis or something, because if they wanted to meet in this room, or in the room across the hall, would they have to pay rent? There's a question here. This is a government building, and it's owned by the people of the town. and a civic organization hopefully is open to everyone, and you know, if they need, if it's not in use and they just need a